All right, let's practice some point-slope form. So the first thing we're going to do is write an equation in point-slope form of a line that passes through the given points and has the given slope. So let's start by just writing down our point-slope form equation. So we have y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1, where m is our slope and x1 and y1 is our ordered pair. So taking a look at our first example here, we have our ordered pair. So this is our x1, y1, and then we have our slope of -4. So when we write down our slope form, y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1, all we're going to simply do is plug in our ordered pair. For y1, we're going to plug in our slope and our x1. So our y1 value is 7, our slope is -4, and our x1 value is 2. So our point slope form here would be y minus 7 equals -4 times the quantity of x minus 2. And that is point slope form. You do not have to simplify that any further. Let's go ahead and let's jump down to number 4. Let's start by identifying our x1, y1, and our slope is 3. So again, we're just going to plug in our values. So we have y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1. This is not a formula that will be given to us on our formula sheet. Point slope form is one that we need to memorize. So let's plug in what we know. So this would be y minus, our y1 value is -2, equals our m value is 3, times the quantity of x minus our x1 value is -6. So now as we simplify this, when we have minus a negative, when we take away a negative, that turns that into a positive. So this would become y plus 2 equals 3 times x minus a -6 would turn into x plus 6 in a simplified version. So in point slope form, we would write that as y plus 2 equals 3 times the quantity of x plus 6. Let's try one more together, and then I'm going to have you guys try some on your own, pausing and stopping along the way. So as we go back to number 2 here, let's start by identifying again x1, y1, plugging in our values. So we have y minus y1, which is 5, equals m, which is -3, times the quantity of x minus x1 is 12. So there is our point slope form. And that is simplified because we have no minus and negative. Now, we are going to go one step further on this one. Our directions do not ask us to do this, but I do want to show you how these things will tie together. So this is point slope form. If we were asked to then transition this into slope intercept form, we could simplify this further by distributing our -3 to everything inside those parentheses. So then that would leave us with y minus 5 equals -3x plus 36. And if I bring all of my integers to one side to get y by itself, if I add 5 to both sides, then that would leave me with y equals -3x plus 41. So we can easily see how point slope form can be turned into slope intercept form. At this time, I would like you guys to try number 3 on your own, pausing the film and then coming back once you think you've got your answer to double check it. All right, if you're back, then that means you should have completed number 3. Let's see how we did. So we've got our x1, y1 as we go to plug in our values. So we have y minus -5 equals our slope, which is 6, times x minus x1, which is 4. As we go to simplify this, since we have minus a negative, this would turn into y plus 5 equals 6 times x minus 4. There's our simplified form for point slope form. Again, I want you guys to try number 5, pause the film, let's see how you did, and come back when you think you've got it. All right, let's see how you did on number 5, writing it in point slope form. Here's our x1, y1. So this would be y minus -6 equals 1/2 times x minus 7. To simplify, since we have a minus -6, this would turn into y plus 6 equals 1/2 x minus 7. There is our point slope form in simplified version. As you try number 6 on your own, I'd like you to first write it in point slope form, and then I would like you to try to take it from point slope form and transfer it into slope intercept form. Try it on your own, then let's come back to check it together. All right, let's see how we did. So x1, y1. So we have y minus 2 equals -3/4 times the quantity of x minus -8. As we simplify that in point slope form, we get y minus 2 equals -3/4 times the quantity x minus a -8 will simplify to x plus 8. So there is our point slope form. Now we want to go ahead and turn that into slope intercept form. So we're going to begin by distributing our -3/4 to everything inside the parentheses. So that would give us -3/4 times x would be -3/4 x. When we take a -3/4 times a positive 8, that's going to give us a negative. 3 times 8 is 24. Divided by 4 is 6. Bring all of our integers to one side to isolate our y. Add 2 to both sides. Cancels out and will leave us with y equals -3/4 x minus 4. So we have now taken point slope and transferred it into slope intercept form. So given 1 point in the slope, we can now write this in point slope form and even transfer it into slope intercept form. But now we're going to skip down to the bottom of the page and let's take a look at when we are not given the slope, but instead we are given 2 ordered pairs. So as we take a look at 14, we're going to use that same method, but in this case, we're going to have to start by finding the slope. So we're going to write an equation in point slope form of the line that passes through the 2 given points. And then we're going to use the first point to write the equation. So then that way we're all on the same, using the first point to write the actual equation. So let's start by finding the slope between these two given points. So remember, our slope is where we're going to take y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So to find our slope between these 2 points, we're going to take 1 minus 7 over 5 minus 4. So that's going to give us negative 6 over 1. So our slope for this first one is going to be negative 6. And then we're going to use that first ordered pair. So we have 4, 7 and a slope of negative 6. So now as we go to put that into point slope form, we have y minus y1, which is 7, equals m, which is negative 6, times the quantity of x minus x1, which is our 4. Okay, and that is already in its simplified version. So there is our point slope form. Let's go ahead and try one more together, and then I'll have you guys try one on your own. So our first step in the next one is to find our slope first. So we're going to start by taking our y2 minus our y1. So we're going to take 2 minus negative 2 over x2 minus x1. So 2 minus a negative 2, that turns into plus a positive. So that will give us 4 over negative 3 minus 9, gives us a negative 12. That will reduce to negative 1/3. Again, we're going to use that first point. So we have the ordered pair 9, negative 2, and we have a slope of negative 1/3. Let's go ahead and write that in our point slope form. So y minus y1 equals slope times the quantity of x minus x1. In this case, this will simplify. When we have minus a negative, that will turn into plus a positive. So we have y plus 2 equals negative 1/3 times x minus 9. There's our point slope form. Now, just to give it a little bit of practice, let's go ahead and turn that into slope-intercept form just to practice that one more time here. So if we distribute that negative 1/3 to everything inside those parentheses, that would give us y plus 2 equals negative 1/3 x plus 3. When we subtract 2 from both sides, that would give us y equals negative 1/3 x plus 1. Just to see it back into slope-intercept form. And if we wanted to check to prove that those in fact both are the same, we can always go back to our best friend Desmos and plug in both the point slope form and the slope-intercept form and see that they would create the same line. At this time, go ahead and pause the film one more time, and let's see if you can write number 16 in point slope form, then come back and check it. All right, let's see how you did. So the first thing we needed to do was to start by finding that slope. So as we take negative 2 minus negative 8 over 7 minus 3 minus a negative 8 would turn that into plus a positive. So that would be negative 2 plus 8. So that becomes 6 over 7 minus 3 is 4. So that would reduce to 3 over 2. Again, using that first ordered pair. So that's going to give us 3, -8, and a slope of 3/2. When we go to put that into point slope form, y minus y1 equals slope times the quantity of x minus x1. Oops, and I have that backwards, so let's go back and let's fix that up. Y minus y1, that should be a -8, equals slope times x minus x1 would be 3. And then that will simplify. Minus a -8 would be y plus 8 equals 3/2 x minus 3. And there's our point slope form. All right, that's how we write from two ordered pairs into point slope form.